My name is Matthew Poupitch. I'm with NRC. We partnered with Wake and helped them through their implementation, stabilization, managed services, from PeopleSoft to Oracle Cloud, and Tracy Stevenson.
Yeah, Tracy Stevenson, supply chain, AVP of supply chain at Atrium Health, Wake.
Yep. So we'll just start getting into it and give you where we want to really open it up is give you what is the goal of this presentation, why are you here, what are we trying to deliver to you, and really what that's going to be is shared our lessons learned from through the implementation, a little bit in Hypercare, and also stabilization. Really want to focus on items and share with you people that are considering going to the cloud, ready making the move, transitioning, or in stabilization. So that might give you a sense of what we're trying to provide to you today. Where we're going to open up is give you a project overview. What was the environment that we were working in, and Atrium Wake, and to give you a sense of the project. So there's multiple legacy systems. There's multiple hospitals. There's Atrium, Wake, Navicent, and they all had their own legacy systems. We had the Big Bang approach, right? So each hospital had HCM, finance, supply chain, going live at the same time, grants at Wake Forest Baptist Health. Also, as everyone, limited resource to focus on the implementation, right? Everyone's got the day job, focusing on production support, and so many modules, and just about all of them. But when you look at it from a supply chain perspective, you're kind of integrating with all of them, whether it's projects, GL, etc. But we had purchasing, inventory, accounts payable, everything's being costed, replenishment, all that. Data being converted with suppliers' items, BPAs, item balances, POs attachments, and then multiple integrations. So Epic, TrackCore, QSite, Remitra for invoicing, GHX, and various punch-out vendors. And the challenges that we faced were staggered go live. So Atrium went live first. Tracy, when was it? I think
February.
February of 21.
21.
And then Wake followed.
July of 21.
And then Navicent.
And then here they all came.
And then Floyd at
Yes.
other hospitals. So kind of Atrium Health, they were the first one. They kind of had their approach, their plan, had to consider all the other hospitals, but they were going first. And every system, robust customizations in PeopleSoft. And not to mention, we had to merge various source systems. So you don't want 12 of the same items or 3 of the same items in each hospital. Business processes, pretty standard for any hospital. Requisition, punch out, matching, costing, cycle counts, inventory fulfillment, trying to do this thing, touchless buying. So having the system auto replenish, route for approval, click approve, auto source to a PO, shipping doc receives it, auto put away in inventory, IDS or Remitra for AP invoicing, automatic comes in, everything matches. So kind of once you place that rec or replenishment identifies insufficient stock, it goes. All right, so this is the implementation lesson learned section. So reviewing our implementation. We're not going to cover everything. We're just trying to pull out some things that we gleaned looking back in hindsight. You know, what were those gotchas or some of the things we want to share, tidbits. And Tracy?
So for business processes, what we did at that Wake was took a full audit of all of our business processes. As supply chain systems leader, I knew what the processes were. I knew how they were supposed to do. And you never know that, you know, a teammate could do it differently and still get the job done. So it could be, you know, teammate, could be a whole team, could be a whole hospital doing their own thing. But at the end of the day, you know, inventory was being replenished. It's just, it was a different process. So you got to take an audit of all of that because you're going to have to build the new system and match those business processes for what cloud can do. And then, you know, your current process should be the goal. If you're using touchless replenishment, it's scheduled, it approves, it builds a PO, goes out the door, no one touches it. That should be your goal in cloud. I gave my team 30 days after go live to do their, you know, to go through all their replenishment. You know, they were really wary of turning on things that just auto processed. You know, new system, you never want to do that. But yeah, I gave them a goal, 30 days. Let's get that replenishment back going as it should, auto processing. And they did a lot of work in that 30 days, and thankfully they got it, and they met my 30-day goal. So conversions. So this is the bread and butter of your cloud. You're going to gather data to begin to load into the system. You've got to be able to determine where the data is coming from, who's going to vet it, who's going to make sure that that item that matches what someone, a third party or whomever in your master data has said, this item matches this product. Does it really? Because you want to have all that data perfect as can be before you load. And then once you get it as perfect as can be, what you're going to do, you're going to use the FBDI template in Oracle Cloud to load. Conversion of your data is important in loading. I would love to say you can just go in and hand key all of that, 10,000, 20,000 lines of code. No one wants to do that. So as we mentioned yesterday, bad data in equals bad data out. So you want to make sure that your data is as clean as possible. And then you have to make the decision of where you're pulling it from. Who's going to give it to you? You're going to get it for your item master. You're going to get it from contracts. You're going to use a third party. Again, once you get all that bucket of information, you then have to say, this is correct and let's get it loaded. Because you don't want to load a bottle of bleach for $5 instead of $5,000. Someone's got to look at that, because you can seriously mess up your inventory if you do that.
And if I could just add here, right, conversion, Oracle Cloud, we're going to get into it, but pre-built FBDIs. Yep. We're going to have a page that shows you how easy it is to download and upload data into FBDI and import into your system. So that's what Oracle did really well, and we really liked it. All my engagements. Source system cleanup, Tracy saying, here's some things that we just pulled out and said, these are areas to focus on. This is when things went bump, pricing, unit measures, conversions, configurations. It all has to align with what you're converting. And that's where we had some problems. Unit measures, the unit price didn't convert the way we wanted it to. So not only convert the data and make sure it loaded, but validation. Every step of your testing cycle, sit 1, 2, 3, go live, or cut over. Validate the data. Make sure that what loaded worked. When you're testing, test with converted data. Don't just create a test transaction or create an item, then create a rec with that item. Well, you're not testing the conversion, you're not validating it. So data validation during your implementation, during your sit cycles is critical. It's where you're actually going to find a lot of your errors. You'll probably have a 99% load efficiency rate. Great, you did it. But if the unit price was for the wrong unit measure, you're going to pay $50,000 for a piece of Kleenex, which might have happened.
I cannot confirm nor deny that happened. So,
and then we also talk about cross-functional discussions, right? When you're talking about converting data, what are the requirements for a purchase order? What are the requirements for an AP invoice? Making sure that you're aligned with that set of criteria, what's going to be converted. An AP invoice is going to fail if that PO didn't convert, if all the lines on that PO that you wanted to convert weren't there. So just things to think about out of the gates when you start doing your first set of data conversions is have that cross-functional discussion, have everyone in the room, build the design together, and then execute it together.
Your data, purchase orders. If you're converting purchase orders, what are you going to convert? Do you have open POs from 5, 6, 7 years ago? Do they need to remain open? For whatever reason, maybe it's a monthly fee that it was one PO that you get monthly, and you've been getting it for 5 years. We had POs like that. You have to convert those.
Amount only POs.
Amount only POs, yes. Inventory. You've got inventory, 20 lines on an inventory right at go live. You got 5 of them in your old system. Now you've got 15 that you've got to convert, because you've got to get that receipt, you've got to get that put away, you got to get the costing correct for those 15. But you don't want the 5 because they've already been received in your old system. So if you've got that, then your costing is off for those 5.
And so, one quick thing I want to call out is item balances, right? You want your quantity on hand to be converted accurately. If you're converting PO receipts, Make sure item balances are happening after, because once you put a PO receipt in the system that hasn't yet been matched or invoiced, it's going to get put away. And then if you load item balances, well, you might double count those PO receipts that you converted. So if you do PO receipts, if that's part of your business process, make sure those are reversed out and then item balances are loaded in. Just a little gotcha.
And in your cross-functional discussions, work with AP, work with inventory, work with item master, work with purchasing, work with everybody. Have a plan. Stick to your plan. Don't deviate from your plan until you have to deviate from your plan. And it happens. We had a strong plan. This is what we're converting. This is only what we're converting. And then a month later, it's like, oh no, there are 800 POs that were not in the mix to convert. And we had to scramble on a weekend and basically bring the system down to load those POs in. So there can be some deviation. It's okay. Try not to do that, but It's okay.
So I want to show this slide. I don't know this is more so for people that aren't in Oracle Cloud yet or haven't started that journey or that process. But I just want to show that Oracle Cloud's done a really great job, or Oracle I should say, of providing you pre-built FBDIs, file-based data import tools that you can download every release. This is from 23B for procurement. You'll see all the different transactions that you could import into the system. And it's just a text file or a XML file, XLSM. It's a file.
Yeah.
And here it is. It gives you instructions, and then at each tab you populate the data. There's comments in them. They're not the greatest, but it gives you a good guide of how to populate the file, generate CSV. You put it into the system, and then you run a process, and it imports load results. Other companies use like IDM and other things like that to import, but just want to point out that what you're loading, what they're giving you to load, is really nice.
Yes. But, and I will say, this was brand new for me. I was given this template and said, here, give me the data. And it's, again, a spreadsheet with multiple tabs. You will not use it every tab. You will not use every column. What you have to do is ask. Have meetings, have multiple meetings about these templates and say, go through every column and say, what is this? What does it correlate to? What do I need it? If not, move on to the next column. It's okay. You will get things wrong. I remember loading inventory for testing, and the locator on the item in one was dashes. In another, it was slashes. And in another, it was spaces. And I got it wrong all 3 times that I did it. And they would just chuckle and go, you did it wrong again. And have to go back and do that. But ask questions. If you don't understand it, just keep asking.
And for this, data mapping, legacy to target, crucial step in the process. Do it early. You have all the target fields here, right? It's in the template already for conversion. So you basically just want to map each one of these columns to a source system or a static value. Define what you want, get that data mapping right, add logic for your developer to extract, tell them where it comes from, right? That's the design, first step, then build, iterate. But data mapping, very critical, do it early.
And you should have multiple test scenarios going on, scheduled in your plan. You will use these templates multiple times to load because you're going to be pulling in current data in to load. You want the most current data that you can get out of your system to be converted to then load so you can test. So, but yes, you will come to know and love these, but they're a very powerful tool, super powerful.
Integrations, kind of jumped ahead on the whole data mapping thing. You do it for conversion, you do it for integrations. Mapping source, Oracle Cloud to wherever you're going, however you're sending it out. Some of that mapping can be difficult, right? You don't know the records fields in Oracle Cloud. You don't know how to get them. As we go later on, I'm going to show you a little tip of how to get those right records fields to help know where you want to push things. if you're trying to build a report, integration outbound, OTBI, BIP reports, SQL based. I like outbound. Outbound's pretty easy, pretty straightforward, right? Just write the SQL, schedule it, out it goes. You can leverage OIC. Really nice. Inbound, a little more complicated. What's nice about inbound reporting or inbound integrations is you can leverage some of these FBDIs. You can basically take data from your source system or whatever your vendor is and leverage an FBDI to do the import. So you're kind of mapping it right to that pre-built tool, and you can call it and load it. Collaboration messaging, you're going to be using that. That's going to help you manage transmitting files. Example is punch out, right? PO inbound. So you can see the purchase order come in, or sorry, the PO go out, PO outbound, and see the XML messaging that goes out with it. Collaboration messaging is a really easy way to monitor, manage transactions being transmitted in and out of the system. And this is a look of it, collaboration messaging. So you can see what kind of document you have, click on what was sent out, who the vendor, you can search by vendor. So if you had an issue with the PO going out the door, you could see, and this is what they're receiving. This is the XML transformed message that they get. So collaboration messaging is a great way. And they say, like, punch out, it's all configurable. So is it an integration? Is it not? But you are sending something from your system to another system, whether it's direct to GHX or you're leveraging OBN or Oracle Business Network to get that message and have your partners connect to OBN, right? So you're going Oracle Cloud, OBN to your vendor. We treat it as an integration, right? Because there's so many touch points. There's a lot of configuration pieces. We really liked having an FDD on it, a design doc, so that you can see all the configurations that touch it. There's a fair number. So,
yeah, there are a fair number of setup for punch out. I think it's actually easier in cloud than it was in PeopleSoft, though.
Yeah.
It really was, because in PeopleSoft, when we set up a punch-out vendor, I don't know if y'all have punch-outs, but when we set up a punch-out, we basically had to have multiple teams come to the table and start really testing. Can I hit that website of the supplier? You don't have to do that in cloud. You have, your core team has their playbook, and they go right down the list, and once they give the credentials and they test that connection, you can go. So,
yeah.
I love punch out. If you need help with punch out, let me know. I'll be happy to help. So I do.
Well, it aligns with the seamless buying,
yes.
Touchless buying, right? Reporting, I think, was a challenge for us. It's a very normalized database. You want to create a report in PeopleSoft that was relatively straightforward, a couple records. It took a lot of records in Oracle Cloud. Took time, effort. The performance, I think some reports we would see run for 15 minutes, 20 minutes, 4 hours, even after tuning them. So that was a big hindrance to us being productive. There was a lot of frustration with the end user community that we had to mitigate and work with. We worked with Oracle. They helped us. There were some things that I think were blockers from improving, because a BIP report, SQL, it's custom, it's ours. They will help, but not all cases. In Oracle Cloud, they have subject areas, right? It's a subject area is a predefined object that you could drag and drop whatever field you want to build a report. You click on that field you added and set criteria on it, which is really nice. But often what we found is we were always missing one field. It was like you wanted to see all your purchase orders and all the POs that were paid in a period or who it routed to, but you're missing that one value. And now we couldn't use the subject area because you can't, maybe other people know, merging subject areas together. Anyone doing that? No? We didn't get it. So if the subject area was missing a key field that the business wanted, and they're like, we can't move forward without this field, it's like, okay, we're building a SQL report. And we'd have to write the SQL, right? Something we weren't prepared for, and it took a lot more time. In reporting, often it started too late in the project. We should have started much earlier. We should have had, real quick, if we could just bop back.
Sure.
Source system review. Review the reports. I'm sure everyone has a cache of reports and old ones in V2, 3, 4, right? Like, which reports do you want in your new system? Users have them. They got private ones, public ones, all over the place. Which ones are you going to focus on? Which one is your implementation team going to do? And make sure that they're prioritized. And you're going to need them during SIT testing, data validation. Leverage them like you did in the old system.
If you have a reporting team who does your reports now in your current system, get them up to date with cloud, get them involved in the project, get them involved in all the conversions. And, in PeopleSoft, item number means the item master number. In cloud, it's the key field number, an 8 million digit number. Item name in cloud is your item master number. Yes, so it's like I really understood querying in PeopleSoft. I knew my tables, I knew my records, I knew how they linked. Cloud is like Greek to me. Still, after 2 years, I struggle with reporting. I'm getting there, but I've got really strong reporting team that I can actually choose their reports and save them and then tweak them as needed. I mean, you do a lot of that in PeopleSoft now. But you will do that in cloud. But if you have a strong reporting team, get them involved in the project. Don't wait till, right till go live. They need to know and understand what all the fields are, what all the records are. And truthfully, it's a matter of you just got to jump in and do it.
Yeah.
You got to go in and hunt and peck and click and try to link and see what happens. You've got all of these records that have POID. What is it? You just start adding it to your reporting just to see what you're going to get. Yes.
Yeah. So the next slides here's some things that I think can help you, tools to help you with the reporting process. This is just a snapshot of OTBI. Oracle provides pre-built reports that you can leverage, and they have the folder structure on the left-hand side. You have your My Folders and Shared Folders, and you could navigate through and see what you want to use. At Wake, Atrium, they all created a Atrium custom folder, and within it they had reports, conversions, data validation, integrations, outbound integrations, things that we built. Outbound integrations is nothing more than typically a report that you want to send to a third party, right? So they created a custom folder structure, gave people access within it. You could use roles or users, and this is just to give you a frame of reference. And as we go forward, this is just a quick snippet of helpful explanations of what Oracle offers. Subject areas, BIP reports, what you see in reporting for financials or procurement. I don't know why I grabbed the financials. I meant to grab procurement, but that's all right. So I just want to share this image. If you download our deck, it's something to reference to help you learn more about reporting. And this is what I really like. We love this thing. All right, so this is a subject area to database mapping, right? If you're trying to create a report in Oracle Cloud and you don't know the record or field, this is a great place to start. You could go in this massive document. I don't even know how megabytes it is, but it has every subject area, and there's one for all areas. This is the SCM one. So I open up this SCM one, and I search the presentation column I want. So purchase order or supplier or note, and it pulls up the database object and the database column. I don't really care so much about the subject area. It helps, gives me an idea, but this is a great place to start. Say, what records do I need in my report? And you'll see purchase order, PO header at all, segment 1. I would have never guessed segment 1 is Oracle's database PO number column. There's PO ID, there's all these other values that you think would be it. It's not. It's segment 1. I didn't like that.
Yeah.
And then the next page is Google. You found your record. What's in this record? Tell me more about this record. I just searched PO header all. It's the first thing that pops up, and it brings you to procurement, the most current release, and then it gives you all the detail about that record. So you go in that record, You can see foreign keys, indexes, what other columns are in it that give you a description of what it does. So this is just meant to be a tool for you to leverage. You could download that file. I put in a hyperlink to it so that you could do it. There's the subject area database column reference. Just a little, something might help you out.
And
wish we had at the beginning.
Google is your friend for Oracle Cloud, not just reporting. You know, if you get an error, I'm forever, you know, if I'm looking for something, I'll go to Google and go, Oracle Cloud, error, Oracle Cloud, replenishment, Oracle Cloud, and then it returns information, and it'll link you to Oracle, and it'll link you to, you know, Oracle Docs. It'll tell you where to go to set things up. But yes, Google is your friend with Oracle Docs.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So during our implementation, of course, you know, we always run into resource constraints. You know, when we started, we had a huge team of folks for this implementation. By the time we finished, we were down to maybe 3 or 4 people. And it was very difficult near the go live. But it is a project of competing priorities. You know, while you're focusing on your go live data, you're also, you know, your processes, your parse doc creation, all your item master, getting all of that ready to go. You know, you want to do your labeling, you want to, you know, get parse doc ready, you want to get inventory ready. They're all clamoring for, I want my labels, I want my labels, I want my labels. But you're also focusing on testing. You got to get all of your information for testing so that you have all of that ready to go. And then, you know, there are multiple testing cycles, like I said, that all need new up-to-date data for the testing and training, because you'll use that data for your training as well. Okay. So be sure to build out your teams as much as possible, you know, to make decisions, not in a silo. You know, have enough people on your project team that, you know, not 1 or 2 people are having to do purchase orders, inventory, reporting, integrations. What else did I have to do? Yeah, all of it. BPA. I was doing everything, and it was lots of long days. And it's funny because right now people go, "How long have you been on cloud?" I'm like, a year and a half. A year and a half. That's not, and it's all a blur because I think it's a year and a half. No, it's 2 years. In 2 weeks we'll be on this system for 2 years. But it was such a blur and so much work to do that it's just like, yep, a year and a half. And yeah. So
and with that, I just want to throw out this one thought is like, your team, they're the ones that are going to support this thing going forward. Focus on the future, not the past. Try to get them away from spending so much time in production support. Have them focus on the implementation. You have a production support issue and they're responsible for it, they're going to drop the implementation and move over to production support, right? They got to support your user community. That's priority. Well, now they're not getting KT, knowledge transfer. They're not helping with the implementation. They're not testing properly. They're not logging the defect that they had, you know, right? Like, their attention is pulled in so many directions that you want Tracy to be confident the day it goes live, asking the right questions during the implementation process so she's best prepared. Just
right. Yeah. But yeah, again, your day-to-day business in your current ERP cannot stop. Even though you've got your super users who do that every day, focused on the project. If you can't close your inventory due to something, everyone's going to shift and get that done, while you've got your partners going, hey, I need this FDBI template today. You're not going to have it today. Well, we won't go live with this testing if we don't have it today. So lots of competing priorities, and you've got to have your leaders say, give them a break, you know, stop, pause, you know, let them do this because we have to close inventory. We have to, you know, requisitions aren't going out the door. And then, you know, all of this, you know, we also had COVID, you know, during this time of go live. So that was fun, you know. But you know, it was, again, you know, moving everybody from in person to virtual. So that was a whole new world too. But yeah, so just try to support your team as much as possible. Give them breaks. Make sure that they're taking their breaks. Make sure they're going on PTO. Make sure they're really caring for themselves, because if you don't, they're going to go, and then you'll have to absorb what they were doing.
So this last slide, I think, before we're going to take a quick minute, and you guys we'll ask some questions, but really want to talk about some of the PMO level stuff, SIP planning, what you're actually setting up for your team to do, the refresh cycle when you work with Oracle Cloud. They're serving all customers. They're refreshing all their environments for the different mock cycles, sit cycles. If you have a refresh scheduled for July 1 and you're at June 16th and your gold environment is not configured the way you like it, and you're saying, hey, can I push that a week? They're going to say no. We could push it 3 months, right? Or like whatever it is. They have a whole list of things they got our customers they have to focus on, and they don't have the time just to move people around like that. So when you're planning your refresh timeline, your sit cycles, your mock conversions, a lot of thought has to go into that cadence, that frequency. How much time does this cycle need? How much time are we going to allot for defect resolution between cycles? How much slack are we going to build into it? The gold environment, can't speak enough about that. Configurations in that environment are going to be cloned and used in every conversion environment cycle. If your configurations are wrong, your conversions are going to fail. Integrations are going to fail. You're going to have problems. So goal environment's critical. Exit entry criteria. If you have a sit cycle and you want to be able to move on, make sure that criteria is established and it's not ambiguous, right? You want to be able to move on. You have to say 99% of load, validation complete for so-and-so. Just something that might not be prioritized to get out, and it also aligns you, the business, and your implementation partner on the same page. Like, hey, we haven't met this criteria. We established it together. Why not? Let's pause. Let's break. Defect resolution. Have enough time to do it in between cycles. So, yeah.
Yeah, and then with your sit testing, who's going to be involved? Who's going to be doing the testing? Make sure that you have that list of folks. I mean, it's not going to be everyone in your medical center doing sit testing. You're going to pull super users. You're going to pull requisitioners. You're going to pull inventory. You're going to pull various folks. Make sure their security is loaded correctly, because if they go in to create a requisition, they don't have security loaded, they can't do the requisition. So you're having to scramble and do some odd username so that they can get through the system. So security is really, really important for all your testing and for go live as well.
Yeah. So we just want to take a minute, exercise. My wife's a teacher at Marquette, and she says this works with her students. So maybe you guys would be interested in it. Take a minute, talk to your colleague or neighbor, and just, if you have a question, maybe ask them the question. If they can't answer it, direct it to us, and we have time for maybe a couple questions, a lot of material left, so we'll just give you a couple minutes, talk amongst yourselves, and if you have a question, let's ask, otherwise we'll move forward. Hypercare, real quick, post go live, you have 2 weeks of hypercare, right? It's a coined term, and what went really well in hypercare post go live was having something we preemptively did, creating QRGs, quick reference guides, to share with our user community that they could reference instead of sending you an email. How do I do this? We also had a big bump in staff, someone to help triage incoming calls. I think, what was it? They leveraged managed services from NRC, and we added, I think it was like 15 people to the staff for a brief period of time, and we just took the calls, entered them in the system, because the volume.
The supply chain also had a Teams channel as well, that if someone was entering a requisition, they could type a question. Or we also had open office hours for the first 2.5 weeks after go live, where someone manned an open call the entire time. So if someone was having issues, they would be able to call in and share screens, and we can get them through things. Yep.
Challenges, it's kind of a silly one. Security. I don't think we tested it well enough during sit cycles. We had trouble with security during our sit cycles, meaning like ended up having to give people super access or something, or not actually leveraging that person's provisioned roles. So they weren't really testing, what is my life going to look like once we go live? So just an emphasis on security and making sure that is a part of your sit cycles, that people are telling you early and often, like, hey, I don't have access to this page that you're telling me I need. Then you could revisit your role matrix and what you're provisioning out. And yeah, we'll go ahead.
Well, I actually like that last bullet point that it said reliance for articles of support.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was actually hesitant on even adding that one. We kind of talked about it because it's the nature of the beast, right? You're going Oracle Cloud from PeopleSoft. You're losing control of your on-prem. You have the ability to refresh a database from wherever to quickly pivot on an issue that you identified, or if you have a code error, you get developers, hey, fix this, right? Now it's submit an SR. Hey, we have this problem. Okay, you and a bunch of other customers, like we're working on, right? So there is that latency, there is that lack of control, but that's what you're paying for. You're outsourcing that, right? So, like I said, I was kind of hesitant in adding that because that's just part of the deal. Yeah, that's true.
That's ours. Yeah. So just lessons learned with stabilization. Just remember, rarely is anything set in stone. I mean, you can certainly change things. My suggestion is, you can have it perfect as your inventory loading balances that go live. $1 million end, $1 million begin. Great. Look at your inventory value a couple days later after your receipts start coming in, after your put away start coming in. If you got $1 million inventory on a Monday and you got $10 million inventory on a Wednesday, something's happened. Something's happened with one of the items. So you've got to really check that. And even today, I have someone on my team who checks inventory balances every day. And she lets me know if there's a swing either way, one way or the other. Check for decimals. If you're requisitioning, POs coming across at a 1.0009, then you've got a unit of measure issue. You won't get the receipt correctly. You won't be able to transfer inventory. You won't be able to receive inventory. So, and then BPA maintenance is the key for all of this. We went with contract number and supplier at the beginning. I think we made a shift to just BPAs by supplier. So it's easier on my master data team to manage.
High level issues. Talked about security, seeded versus custom roles. If you provision out seed roles, and you want to make a change to that seeded role, you can't. You have to create a custom role and replace. Kind of tedious. There's a lot of things that you attach to a role for business unit access. Quick example of that is the seeded role for procurement requisition allowed someone to cancel a requisition after the PO was sourced.
Remember that. That's key. That's delivered. That is delivered.
So
requisition PO to supplier. That supplier's shipping product. Matt says, I don't want that. He goes in, cancels the requisition. It hits the dock. There's no PO anymore because they canceled the requisition, which cancels the PO. Buyer didn't know. I got a $4,000 piece of skin on the dock. Can't receive it. What do I do with it? Can't send it back now. Well, I canceled it.
I don't even know if it cancels the PO. It looks healthy, but then they get an error because the rec's canceled. So anyways, just an example of it. The maintenance of security is kind of a bear. It's very manual. Have a team that's ready to maintain that security workflow. Workflow maintenance was challenging. Logic must account for each possible scenario. A good example of that is, I want this rec to get approved if it's $5,000. Well, you better have a counter rule that auto approves if it's less than $5,000. If you have a rule that just says if it's $5,000, route to Sally, and you get a rec that's less, it'll error. It's like, I don't know what to do with this. In PeopleSoft, if it was just that rule, it would skip it because it wasn't $5,000 or more. Oracle Cloud, you have to have both. You have to have plus 5,000 and below 5,000. And that below 5,000 has to be set to auto approve. One more thing real quick there I think is very important is, let's keep going. Quarterly updates.
They come fast.
They come fast. They're great. They're good. They keep you current, but you got to test them. Have a plan in place, right? We have a very structured document that says, this is about the time when the day one Oracle releases an update. These are the activities that have to be done. This is who's going to review those. This is the team that's going to identify the new features that are going to impact our team. These are the ones that are opt-in that we should consider and evaluate. Then there's the testing phases, and then the go live, and everyone has an assignment, and it's repeatable. You do it every 10 weeks, 11 weeks, whatever it is, and you're going to do it forever. So be ready for it. Leverage RPA to ease the burden of testing, and get business buy-in. You know, use their capacity to test the system. They're the ones that are in it every day. They could do some things really quick, and they can log those issues as you go.
So as we talked about the benefits, the FBDI template for loading data, loading lots of data, you don't have to go in and do them one at a time. That's huge. You've got your ADFDI. You can manually compile data, Excel sheet connected to user. It's a slow load, but you know, it's something that you can use as well.
It's user friendly. It's something you could bake into your business processes. You know, they could just, instead of manually keying in an invoice, they could populate a spreadsheet, click load. It's connected. If it fails, you know, it speaks with the application. Cloud benefits. You know, we like the user interface. Quarterly updates keeps you current. Positive there is if the system stays current, Oracle's getting feedback, Oracle's able to react faster, and we think, you know, my opinion is that Oracle Cloud's going to grow faster than PeopleSoft did, because they're going to get feedback at a higher clip, right? Back in the day, PeopleSoft, they released something, customers, maybe they applied it 6 months, 2 years. Well, it took time to get that feedback, and they would just table that thing. That was something Robin said in an early session, and it really stuck with me, and I've actually been agreeing with that. Before we ask a couple questions, this is us. Email us to get this deck. If you want a copy of the presentation, or you have any questions you want to follow up with us,
do ask questions. You know, if you don't understand something, ask. And if you get the answer and you don't understand, ask. If you have to ask a third time, ask. And if you're still not understanding it, you know, send me an email. I'll help you. You know, send Matt an email. You know, ask a question, or use the healthcare industry user group, that forum, to ask the question.
Yeah. Do you guys have any questions? We got a few minutes. You guys have, we're done with our bit here. We can go back and touch on anything else you want, or have a great day, go back to bed.
Yeah. Sure. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Sure.
So, you mentioned the collaboration messaging, right? The chat messages coming back and forth. Is that a tool that's used by a business analyst, or by the support, or someone technical? Who is that tool meant to be used, and who monitors that?
It would be the it's usually someone on my team, and IAS would monitor that. So if your first line is going to be, hey, I sent a PO out today at 9 o'clock and I don't see it in GHX. Something's happening. That's the page you would go to see if there are any errors. What's happening? Is it a GHX issue? Is it a Oracle Cloud issue? But that's where you can go and evaluate it. Mm-hmm.
It'll be your IT team.
Yeah.
Your production support group.
And what's been the acceptance, right, the buy-in from a business perspective for not having anymore, right, the flexibility of a quick, I need you to change this report, right, add this field, or remove this field, or change the format, or add this, you know, what the staff didn't like?
It's been difficult. It really has. Like I said, you know, we're learning reporting, and you know, PeopleSoft, I think, was a lot easier with query. And, you know, you just have to just buckle down. And, you know, I've got someone she uses probably 100 reports. And I'm like, okay, can you cull it down to the top 10? And let's get focused on those, because we basically spent, I know Atrium went live first, and then we went live, and then we had other hospitals in the system go live as well. So we were just in that go live place, for over a year, and then stabilization, and then everyone's learning the system, and then then people are, I need a report. So We are just building out our reporting team now. Like I said, get a very strong reporting team. Have them at the beginning, because if they understand from the beginning how the records work, what the fields are, then you'll be a whole lot quicker to get your reports done.
You'll be doing a lot of SQL.
Yeah.
So your developers that are going to do it, team should know SQL. They know SQL, and they have these tools we've been shared with you. They'll be able to figure it out. But it's not going to be as quick as in PeopleSoft. And the performance is a thing, right? You're creating this BIP report that's SQL based. It turns. It takes long times, especially when you're trying to connect like GL to payroll or get your item costing from GL and connect all those pieces. See was my cost in my inventory, right? Some of it's delivered, but a lot of it's missing pieces that you're like, wait, I need that.
Right. And you also don't want to, if you're in your ERP now, you should have a test environment. You always want to design all those reports in your test environment, because you don't want to crash your system. Just, some weird little join can just take over all of your memory.
And I can't tell you how many reports were, the timeout period is 60 minutes. You think that's a long time. There's a lot of reports. I've changed that to 18,000 seconds or 5 hours.
Yeah.
Does at times. And maybe it's me or the developer, like maybe we did a bad job, but we've talked to even our partner, Deloitte and Oracle, like, hey, can you help us tune this? They're like, it's tuned.
It's tuned. It's
just a lot of records, and especially, I might be talking a little more on the financial side, is when you go from a submodule to the XLA tables, which is a submodule, and then connecting it to the GL, massive amounts of data. We don't have control over indexes, right? That's a database thing. That's Oracle. So indexing helps it process it fast. So if we have an unindexed field, and that's why that table I showed is important, because it tells you what's indexed. So if you're pulling something that's not indexed, well, you might have a performance issue. Yeah. All things to consider. There's a lot to consider. So we just try to hit you with some highlights. Hope this was helpful.
Yeah. You're very welcome. Thank you.
Love to chat more. Thank you.